This is our 12 kilowatt ground mount solar panel system. I've done another video just on more of an overview of it. It's been actually slightly more than 3 years since we had it installed back in mid-February 2018. I've had virtually no maintenance. The only thing I've had to do to it was clean the pollen off a couple times when it got excessive. And that really didn't make a huge impact on the performance. But it did do that. Other than that, electrically, and there's not much mechanical here, just I think a fan and an inverter maybe. That's one of the nice things about these solar systems is basically there's very little maintenance required. However, this is a mostly cloudy day now. Sun was out a little bit more earlier. Clouds, rain, that sort of thing does have a big impact on the performance. This system was put in by Tablerock Solar. I've been very happy with it. And so we'll take a look at that data over the past 3 years and see how it's really done for us. By the way, this system has a Fronius inverter. The panels are Axatec 330 watt WP. I believe that means nominal power. Originally the contract was for 37 325 watt panels, but actually put in 38 of these. So as I mentioned earlier, this does work very well. Been very happy with it. We're able to access Fronius website, which monitors our data, and we can do an analysis on it there. This is an Excel spreadsheet chart of our Fronius inverter solar data for 3 years since we installed this system, February 14th, 2018, all the way up through March 26th, 2021. This axis here is our energy production in kilowatt hours, and of course this is time, and that's really a daily date. You can very easily see the seasonal fluctuation. We start making a lot spring and summer, drops off as you get into the fall and winter, and again goes up in spring and summer, drops off again, and so forth. So big difference on seasons because the angle of the sun's a lot lower relative to the panels in the in the winter. Now, you might think this choppiness is like a day and night kind of thing, but it's not. Each one of these data points is for a 24-hour period. The choppiness is simply due to one day you've got a sunny day and the next day a lousy day, and so forth, and sometimes 3 or 4 good days in a row, sometimes 3 or 4 bad days in a row. So that's what causes all that. If we were to have had perfect sunny days every single day, you'd still see the seasonal variation, but you wouldn't have all that choppiness in it. This red line here is an average of the data for 3 years. It was 43.4 kilowatt hours. So even though the system's capable of a lot more, due to seasonal variation and bad weather, you're not going to get the maximum it can do. That's just being realistic. This is breaking it down a little bit further. This is the December of 2020, and it's a little easier to see here. Oops, let's go back up. This is bad rainy day, sunny day, bad rainy day, somewhat sunny day. That's how it goes. So in this part of South Carolina, we have quite a few days where you don't get full sun. This is a screenshot from the Fronius inverter website. It's solar.web.com, I believe. And this is power in kW. And as you can see, it's early in the day, you start making some, and then it peaks out around somewhere, and depending on whether it's daylight savings time, sometime around noon, 1 o'clock, something like that. So the area under this curve is the energy we produce, and they're showing it up here for the day, 68.32 kilowatt hours for that 24-hour period, included the night and the day. You see our peak here, I just picked the peak, was 9.56 kilowatts. Okay, nice sunny day, doing really good. This is a lousy day. This was March 25th of 2021. And you can see that I picked the highest peak there. It was 1142 watts, 1.1 kilowatts basically, significantly lower. But the important thing obviously is power over time, which gives you the energy. And you can see that it was varied depending on the clouds and so forth. Total for the day, just 3,238 watt hours or 3.2 kilowatt hours. Significant difference. So you can really see a big impact of weather around here. Now this is the um, meter, power meter, and I just want to let that run through a cycle so you can see what that does. Let's see if we can play that. Okay, the meter's a little hard to see, but it's reading in kilowatt hours. A little cloudy there, but 67159 is the total meter reading. And position 1, arrow pointing to the left indicates we're making more power than we're using. This is 28881, that position 4, and then it'll cycle into position 6, 38278. This is the position actually goes down when you're making lots of solar power. So that's what we like to see. Okay, this is data taken from the videos I took. I went out every hour during the day and took a little video of the meter cycling and wrote down these readings. And 810, there was shade on the panels, weren't really making anything. But we also weren't doing much in the house, so we weren't consuming much energy. But the energy consumption went up as myself and my wife got up and we started doing things. And then it flattened out, and that flattened out when we were making solar. This is that meter 4 position. Basically, it's when it's the solar production as it went up. You can see early in the day, really weren't making any. There wasn't enough sun on the panels. And then we got full sun on the panels, and it started increasing. And this is kind of the net used. You know, we were having net using some, and then the amount we were using actually was decreasing. The meter reading was decreasing as the day progressed. That's what I like to see. This is Blueridge Electric 60-minute interval data for that same day. As you can see, they're showing the middle of the day when it was real sunny. Basically, we weren't using anything. Okay, we're on a net metering plan with Blueridge Electric Cooperative. You can find their agreement at this website. I'm sure other power companies have something similar. By the way, in South Carolina, I think that the bill or whatever that requires power companies to do that might be expiring sometime soon. So that's something to keep in mind. But basically, this is kind of my words from what they say here. The usage is reduced by any excess energy delivered to in this case, Blueridge Electric in the current month, plus any accumulated excess energy balance remaining from prior months. So if we have excess from another month, it'll carry over, and that's a good thing. Once a year, I think it's in March now, I believe, they wipe it out, zero everything out. So you can't keep accumulating energy for year after year. New solar interconnects with Blueridge Electric are being done on a net billing agreement. It's a little different. I believe they use, I think they use 2 power meters. We're not on that, but they basically measure our solar production separately and then credit back based on some kind of a predetermined rate for that excess solar. Versus up here, basically the meter running backwards, more or less. This is a chart, kind of busy, but it shows the power meter data in kilowatt hours plus our monthly net cost. That's the bottom line. I like to see that as close to zero as possible. The furnace inverter production. The green line here, you can see over here is a furnace inverter kilowatt hours. We make a lot of power and solar power in the summertime. It dropped off in the winter, came back up in that summer. This data only goes back to May of 2019. Doesn't go all the way back to February 2018 like the other charts did. But now the blue line here is our consumption in kilowatt hours. Okay. The green is excess generation in kilowatt hours, and the red is the net kilowatt hours used. Now, if you look over here, you see, during the middle of the summer in 2019, we made more solar production than we used. So we had to pay a $28.50 kind of a grid connection fee. If you don't pay them enough power, you're still gonna have to pay that anyway. So that's just the way it is. That's for the privilege of being able to connect to the system. Then as it got into the winter, solar dropped off, as the green line dropped off, these green bars dropped off, and our consumption went up as we started running the heat more. And same thing again the next year. And then you can see the next summer we weren't so lucky. And it was really not due to solar production. That was about the same. It was we were using more. And that was in the summer of 2020. My wife and I were both home because of the pandemic, and we were remodeling the house, running power tools, cooking at home, and so we used a lot more power. So that's our next goal, really, is to find ways of reducing our consumption. The summary of our experience with this 12 kilowatt ground mount system is basically it works great. We're very pleased with the installation by Tablerock Solar, and we're also very pleased with the grid tie arrangement with Blueridge Electric Cooperative. Only maintenance I've had to do in 3 years has been to occasionally clean pollen off the panels, but I've only done that 2 or 3 times. I think just twice actually, and that really didn't make much difference. Due to the relatively common cloudy and rainy days in this part of South Carolina, we're about 13 miles north of Clemson University. The average daily solar energy production for the 3-year period since installation was 43.4 kilowatt hours. We had a maximum on a really good day, 76.8 kilowatt hours, but that's on perfect weather. And the worst day was 1.7 kilowatt hours. You got to be realistic about what to expect in an area that is not sunny every day. We were able to take advantage of a 30% federal tax credit and a 25% state tax credit. These are decreasing and won't last forever, so don't wait too long to have a system installed. If you would, click on the links that you'll see in a minute to subscribe and to see some of our other videos. We'd appreciate it. Thank you.